go. 3, 2, 1, go.
Hello, hello. Ignacy, Portal Games.
And this is the Podfather of Gaming, Stephen Bonacore. You are listening to Board Games Insider, episode 194, and we're recording this on May 5th, 2021. That's Cinco de Mayo, partying tonight. You know it. The 2021 Golden Geek nominated for Best Podcast of the Year, Board Games Insider, is a proud member of the Dice Tower Network. And Tom Vassell tried and failed to get me to come down to help him move the studio to its new location, but I'm happy to accept his invitation to game at the studio this Friday, which I will be going. Why? Because Ms. Paola, my lovely girlfriend, left on an airplane today. She left me. Well, she went back to New Jersey to go see her mother for 2 weeks. So while the cat's away, the mouse will play. That's an old expression. Ignacy,
I do understand it.
You do understand that one. There you go. So yeah, I'm going to be going down to see Tom on Friday. He invited me down after I asked him to invite me down. Like, hey, when are you gaming? I'm kind of free for 2 weeks, sort of, not really, but let me know. And he goes, hey, Friday we're going to be doing a thing. So
I want to help you. I want to help you and just. Are you sure if Paula didn't mean that she's leaving so you can finish all the renovation and when she's back the house will be beautiful?
Maybe she did.
Because maybe you should work right now.
The sad part of this whole thing is that we were trying to time it so that she would be leaving when they started the renovation, because then I would also go and I'm going to stay in my brother's house for a couple of weeks while they're doing demolitions. But they're not starting that for 2 weeks. So now she's away for 2 weeks. And then when she gets back, they basically start renovation. So we both then move out with the cat for 2 weeks to my brother's house. So it's going to be crazy.
You used to plan SN releases, GenCon releases, and now what the hell?
Yeah, this is like a logistics thing. I missed my street date.
You were amazing with that. Come on.
I'm the best at that. I missed. Well, it's like, container ships. You can't, if boom, all of a sudden the print run didn't hit the container. Oh, it's terrible. Ignacy, before you get into telling us about what's happening at Portal Games, we want to remind everybody that you have to stay tuned to the event deck because we have information on our exciting contest that we mentioned last episode and how you can get in to win prizes for our 200th episode celebration. So stay around to the event deck at least, hopefully the whole show. I do not see what's happening at Portal Games.
At Portal Games, we had a big news. Last week, I had this amazing email with the final confirmation from Legendary that we can go green light with Dune. So the Dune is sent to print. We get all the fans accepted. Huge news for the whole company. I think I can give you like a short information how the whole process works because we always want to educate fans.
Oh, yeah.
So at the very beginning, because Dune is a story-driven game, it's an adventure game. So first we submitted many months ago, more than a year ago, we submitted the script for the whole story. The script was accepted, and here everybody who knows the novel knows that we need to be, true to the novel, to all the characters and the events. So for the script was submitted, was accepted, then the script for all the cases of the adventures once again sent to Herberts. Herberts read it, say, okay, it's okay. Frank would be proud of you. They didn't say that, but I hope they meant that. And then the whole part of the DTP and artwork department doing their work, and then you have to submit all the artwork files if the representation of the characters is good, if the fonts are good, if the icons are good. So the whole process of the artwork acceptation, once again we pass that, and then the final text of every single card, of every single description, of every single location, once again send it to Legendary, once again read by the Herberts. And here we have these two steps acceptation, which is also very interesting. So on one hand you have the owner of the IP, Legendary, and they care for the IP, they want everything to be perfect. And then you have the second step, the Herberts family,
Sure.
who care for the story, who care for the novel. and they double check if we didn't write anything stupid about the Arrakis and other things. So that these 2 steps, lots of stress on our side, of course, a lot of work. So kudos to all my team, and we are very proud. And yes, Dune is accepted. It's accepted by Legendary and by Herbert's and sent to print. So this Essen, guys, I invite you for Arrakis.
Oh, that
for
is
great
awesome.
adventure. Yep.
That is going to be great.
My brag of the week, I made a mistake and I introduced my wife Mary to video games. And then I lost my computer because she's playing all day long right now and I have no access to my PC anymore. So I want to warn all the husbands, don't show your wives the game called Dorf Romantic because now everybody on Twitter and everybody on social media is playing that. I was stupid enough, I showed it to my wife and now I don't have access to my computer. Dorf Romantic, if you like Carcassonne, if you like tile laying games, is a great little game from Germany, a video game, very cheap, like $10. Beware, but check it out, it's amazing. My pre-orders and street dates, Egyptian Kings and Vienna Connection street dating on May 27th, so very, very soon. The whole operation for Vienna Connection is in the process. We teased last week that we are sending to our fans who pre-ordered the game secret letters that are supposed to be from CIA. I hope I don't get a look in any trouble. So our fans will get these letters that pretend to be from CIA to get these orders to get in the mission. So we are building a great story-driven experience for our fans before they get the game, before they even get the box. So this was happening for Vienna Connection, and I said it's releasing very, very soon. The whole Antares was playtested this past weekend. We played and everything works nice and smooth, so this is very nice. And the big news for fans in America, we are discussing and debating Ignacy and Mary coming to BGG Con in Dallas, if it will happen this year. So it is possible to finally meet face to face after this all stupid months of COVID.
What? Is this true?
This is true. I got my first shot of vaccine this Saturday. I have prepared a very long, very Slavic rant about me being very angry and very brutal to some people in the internet who write stupid things about vaccinations. But I decided that my Slavic image would be too difficult to everybody to understand. So I will step back. But yes, I was lucky. We got vaccines, me and Mary, but the situation in Poland is terrible, and I'm really tired of all this stupidity around the vaccine.
That's great to hear that, because you said you might not get it till 2023 was the first time you said that to us.
Yeah, without going into the run, because I was really furious. But just the bottom line, in Poland there's so much confusion that people stop showing up for the registration, they stop showing up for the vaccines, and the whole government is left with a ton of vaccines and nobody wants to get their shot.
What?
So they just open everything, like you can now go, anybody can go. This is like ridiculous. The whole system just is like out of the order.
Well,
this is all the confusion that is created in the internet, and people are afraid. And like the vaccine I got was basically prepared for somebody older than me, because it was this is like 18 years old, 70 years old, 60 years old, etc. And somebody older than me was afraid of this vaccine and didn't show up, and I got it. It's terrible. I'm really devastated that the older people are in danger of their life because they're confused and afraid. I'm happy I got my vaccine, but it is a terrible situation that I got somebody's vaccine.
No, well, congratulations on getting it. And anybody who's listening to our voices, I don't want to curse again because then we got to tell Matthew to bleep it. But
I got my
your effing vaccine so that we could get together, hang out. I'm going over to Tom's place, right? We ain't going to wear masks because we're all vaccinated now. It's a great thing. We're going to hang out and we're going to game. We can go to conventions and hang out and game. So guys, get vaccinated. If you're, please don't believe idiots on the internet that are simply saying there's a problem, is this, that is not. It's not. Follow the science. Look at what the important people are saying, the CDC, the World Health Organization. Look at what the the people who understand things go there, do what they're saying, get vaccinated. All right, my rant is off again, and I'm going to continue ranting about vaccines for a long time. So you can keep doing that too, Ignacy.
And you listeners appreciated I didn't go with my run because it will be much more brutal. And now
That's
Steven.
much more brutal. Challenge of the week. I'm going to go back to this one. Please, Facebook, come over, go and like the Podfather of Gaming page, but join the Podfather of Gaming group, where all we do there is post fun, silly things. And while you're there and you see the people that are posting, a lot of which go to the happy hour, a lot of people who are posting aren't happy hour people, but then consider on Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern or Sunday at 4 p.m. Eastern. Get the link that you can find on the Podfather of Gaming page. Get the link there and come join us. We keep getting some new people showing up, and it's so much fun to just get new perspectives, and we keep it light, fun, positive, just hanging out. You don't have to drink to be on the happy hour. All you got to do is show up, smile, and enjoy silliness. We have a new line of products that we're going to do for the Podfather Gaming. The first one's going to be Podfather Gaming underwear. Ignacy, I'm going to be sending you a pair. These are the silly things that happen at the happy hour. God. Anyway, other stuff happening. Let me give a shout out to someone who reached out to me, who released an album, online musical album, and the album is from the group called The Meeples, Meaples, like Beatles. Like they changed the E, one of those E's to an A. So you can go get his album for free, or you can give him a small donation if you'd like. It's The Meeples, which is meaples.bandcamp.com/releases. themeeples.bandcamp.com/releases. And it's all gaming related songs. There's like 10 songs on the album. The first song is called Dice Hate Me. There's some dedicated to specific games that we play. There's one called Take Your Turn, obviously about AP, right? So just a nice guy reached out to me, and I want to give him a shout out here to go check out his new rock infused game related, game themed album. Things happening with me personally. I've been planning my trips. I told you that last time that I planned a trip out to Vegas. I'm so excited about this. It'll be the first major trip to go hang out with my brother and that group of friends, do some nice gambling, some nice drinking, some silliness in there. That's mid-June. And we just planned a mini house con in Napa Valley with Corey, who is from Dice Tower Now, news show there. So a group of friends are going to go and hang out at his house for a weekend out in California. Yeah, well, I know that's far, but you know what? Need to get away. Want to get away. Want to be back experiencing the world. Vaccines are required to go. Of course, it's only a half a dozen people tops going to be there. But this will be the first like gaming trip that I've taken in a year and a half. So that's very exciting. And then I'm going to spend another several days or more out there just touring Napa Valley and going on a food and wine tour. So I'll definitely be posting a lot of stuff about that because as I've said on here, I've taken up wine as another hobby because I needed another hobby, another expensive hobby. So being in Napa Valley, the home of the great American wines, I'm going to definitely enjoy myself while I'm out there. We'll talk more about the remodeling and things like that when it really kicks off. But basically, we're locked and loaded and everything is ready to go starting in 2 weeks. We're waiting for a few things to come in, but the contractor is going to be destroying my house in 2 weeks from now. For conventions, for the real conventions, it looks like the first real convention I'll be going to, if it happens, will be the World Board Gaming Championships in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I used to go before there was a Stronghold Games, and even after I went as a vendor. But I always went because my friends went, not because it was good really for the business. It was just kind of, let's go, let's hang out and have a great time. I then, had the little booth, small convention, 1,500 people, maybe 2,000 people, so not huge, but a regional convention. And basically, we just open game for the entire time that we're there. So that'll be the first one. Is end of July. Certainly, will be posting my experiences from the WBC, and then we roll into August with a gathering of friends and things like that. So I'm looking forward to seeing everybody in a world where we can get together again. Meanwhile, it's time for the event deck. Ignacy, episode 200 is coming up. This is going to be tremendous. And I want to tell everybody we're running this contest where we're going to give away games. So we're giving away 2 games, right? That was the promise. We didn't win the Golden Geek Award, but we got nominated. So we're going to give away 2 games from Portal Games. And how do you enter? You get 1 entry if you post a question, a good question, any kind of question. Just don't ask us something silly. Just, any kind of question about gaming, the industry, even ourselves, in that thread on the Guild of Board Game Geek where it says post a question. So, and I'll let you know, I've only seen about 1.5 pages of questions posted since we started talking about this 2 episodes ago. So you're going to have a good chance of winning one of the 2 games if you post a question there. You get 1 entry for that. You get a second entry into the contest if you record a video or audio and post either of those on Facebook or Twitter with the hashtag Board Games Insider. And Ignacy, we haven't seen many of those. So what's going on?
Here is a Slavic message from one of the co-hosts. Stop being lazy. If you want the game, do some work. Send us a video. And on being serious, there is not many, like if any, on a Twitter. I don't check Facebook because I'm more a Twitter guy. But guys, there was not many submissions. So once again, I want to encourage you. It's so simple. You take the phone, you click the record, you say something about us, about the podcast, and you click publish, and you have a chance to win one of the games: Detective, Vienna Connection, Robinson Crusoe. Amazing games to win. Just say something about our podcast. Super simple. Today I recorded a video not about the podcast but about the game I was developing. Just click the record, click the publish. So simple in these days.
That's right. So this is going to run until the 200th episode. We'll until that drops. We'll take all those entries and we'll randomly pick 2 people to win a game. So hopefully you'll do that, either a good question in the thread or both, or with a second entry for doing a video or an audio on Twitter or Facebook, hashtag Board Games Insider, so we can find it. And with that, let's get to some actual news going on here. GenCon, which is full speed ahead. They are doing it. There's no stopping it, it looks like. They've announced that they will be doing a pop-up GenCon. We mentioned this already, and now the following publishers will be part of that. I'm going to give them a shout out because I think it's really cool. Catalyst Games, Forbidden Games, Pandasaurus Games, Ravensburger, Renegade Game Studios, Slugfest Games, Steamforge Games, USA-opoly, and Weird Games. And what's going to happen is that during Gen Con, they are going to, let me make sure I got that right, during the new Gen Con dates, right? During the new Gen Con dates, which are September 16th to 19th, your friendly local game store has the ability to get new releases from those companies. So if you can't make it to Gen Con and your game store maybe doesn't follow what's happening very closely, go to them and get them hooked into the pop-up Gen Con so they'll get the new releases there from these hot publishers and you can buy them before they're actually out on the street. I think this is great, a great way of bringing people in that otherwise can't make Gen Con.
Yeah, this is a great way for everybody to celebrate Gen Con. Whether you are at the Gen Con in Indianapolis or you are in a different area of the country, you can go to this local game store and feel like at Gen Con. Of course, in the summer grounds, of course, at Gen Con there will be like 500 games released, and this pop-up Gen Con we'll have like 20 or 30 games, but still you will feel like during the event something new just came to the store. There are demos, there is presentations, there is this excitement of buying a new game. So absolutely make you do yourself a treat and have fun during this pop-up Gen Con.
WotC, we keep talking about them and what they're doing. Wizards of the Coast division of Hasbro is now officially accounting for 75% of the profit of the profit of Hasbro, and that was reported for the first quarter. For those wondering if Hasbro's newly created Wizards of the Coast and digital gaming segment was going to continue to generate the lion's share of the company's profit, the answer is in. The segment generated 75% of Hasbro's operating income in the first quarter of 2021, according to the latest reports. That's up from 72% of operating profits of the segment in all of 2020. Operating profit was $110 million, up from $95 million in Q1 2020. Total company operating profits were $147 million. Ignacy, if there's any other proof that our small slice of the world is doing well, this is it. I think it's amazing, and I think it's wonderful to see.
This is, for me, this mind blowing. We covered this a few months ago when there was this announcement that Wizard of the Coast is that a big part of the Hasbro. For me, it was always the Hasbro is this big toy company, and they have this small department, WotC. It is quite opposite. I'm very proud of being a geek. I'm very proud of being part of the hobby, and kudos to all the people at Wizards of the Coast who built the whole company, Magic the Gathering, with Dungeons and Dragons, great IPs.
Absolutely. So last week we talked about a lot of really great people in the industry and things that they're doing. We're going to bring up another one here. In this case, he has joined Amigo Games as the COO, the Chief Operating Officer, and his name is Alex Yeager. Alex Yeager, by the way, has come to Happy Hour on occasion early on. Great guy. Let me read the article here. So Amigo Games hires Alex Yeager as their new COO. He replaces Jeff Pinsker, plans to re-energize hobby channel presence. Amigo Games, the sister company of Amigo Spiel, and Fritz GmbH of Germany, announces that Alex Yeager will become their new Chief Operating Officer. Yeager brings a wealth of experience to his new role as Amigo's new COO. He has 25 years of game industry experience, split predominantly between Mayfair Games and Steve Jackson Games. He held a leadership role for Mayfair Games as their Vice President of Acquisition and Development, where he helped them bring Amigo Games properties such as The Downfall, Pompeii, and Saboteur, and others to the US. He also helped develop video content for Mayfair and was the producer for The Bob and Angus Show and White Glove Demos. So Alex is a guy, you see him at every one of the conventions. He's a big bear of a guy with always a big smiling face on. I think he's just awesome. I know him since his Mayfair days. That's where I got to meet him and got to spend some time with him. And I'm so happy that he's continuing in the industry in a big role, because Amigo is a very big company out in Germany and they're making a presence here as well. So congratulations to Alex and to Amigo. And I'm sure that this is going to take Amigo to even bigger, better levels in the US.
Absolutely. I don't know Alex personally, but the Amigo Spiele is one of the best publishers in Germany. They were represented by Mayfair Games up to now, and now they are building their own brand in America. So it is a great news for the players, more games to be brought to America, and these are absolutely amazing. Some of them in my collection, so great news for everyone.
Right. So we got some bad news here out of Germany, and maybe for teaser for more bad news, sort of. We'll see. Well, it's sort of seriously bad news, but yeah, it's a little bit of a tease, a little bit of a joke in here.
I guess you understand what I meant.
Yes.
Tell us more.
Yes. So Ignacy is laughing the fact that I'm bringing up Germany's Oktoberfest is canceled for the second time. So everyone has heard of Oktoberfest, and obviously it's the big beer festival in Germany, in the Bavarian section, mostly of Germany. It's tremendous. And this is the second year in a row they're canceling it. But this, of course, is so close to what we are looking forward to, hopefully, and that's the Essen Spiele. And that is, of course, at the end of October. Oktoberfest technically takes place at the end of September, just into the beginning of October. So I'm making we're making a little bit of a joke that, it's about beer, this, and of course I do love myself some German beer. But does this portend bad news for our great convention in Essen, which Ignacy might now be able to go to? A funny thing that is
yes,
related. Let me just finish this one thing. A funny thing related that I don't have here, that we did not put here, is that China, I'm pretty sure it was China, announced that they're going to be doing Oktoberfest. No, I'm sorry, not China. I'm sorry, Dubai.
Okay.
Dubai is doing a 6-month Oktoberfest.
6 months.
6 months. So I'm starting October through March. They're going to be doing the largest beer festival in the world. I don't know how they're doing anything for 6 months, but I guess they're creating this largest bar, and it's just going to be open, celebrating Oktoberfest for 6 months. So kind of an odd tangent on this whole thing. But Ignacy, so this is weird. It's sad. Maybe because of it's alcohol related and it's so many people crammed together, a little bit different than if you're at a game convention. It's slightly less crammed. I don't know, but I guess they're just saying, maybe just a little too soon for our Oktoberfest.
Yeah, the message that I want to send here in the podcast is that the Oktoberfest is the big thing in Germany. This is a traditional event that takes place like, I don't know, like a century or whatever. Like this is like a huge tradition. And if in Germany they decided tradition, but we need to care for the people, and when we close it, it will be so easier for them to close some stupid board game event, right? Let's face it, yes.
Yeah.
So we need to get the insight from our German fans. Uri, we are talking to you. Give us an update what's happening in Germany. But this news was a big news here in our office at Portal Games that we discussed. If that means that Essen may not happen, we will see.
We will see. So the next thing, final part of the news, is that the Golden Geek Awards for 2021 were finally selected. Yes, we did not win. That's okay. The best podcast of the year went to So Very Wrong About Games, which I have to say, I apologize. I've never heard that podcast, and they've never come over to say hello to me at a convention, so I don't know who they are. I'm going to go listen to them. So congratulations to So Very Wrong About Games podcast. The runners up with This Game Is Broken, which is Matthew Jude. Congratulations, Matthew, and Board Game Barrage. So we didn't even get runner up. So next year we'll win something. Of course, there was all of the wonderful game winners, and we should probably mention at least a few of them. Winner of Heavy Game of the Year, Gloomhaven, Jaws of the Lion. Medium Game of the Year, Lost Ruins of Arnak. Light Game of the Year, Micro Macro Crime City. Anything else that you found interesting? I thought these were all very, very good games that were nominated, and that, of course, that won some award.
I'm going to record the whole video about the awards, but the first thing that pops in mind is that this year there was so many different games nominated and winning the awards. So we remember this whole cases with Gloomhaven winning everything, Wingspan winning everything. Now we have a card game Dune, cooperative Gloomhaven, innovative Micro Macro, medium Lost Ruins of Arnak. So different games. So kudos to all the designers. If I can get a little bit silly, as always, the 3 games that won light game of the year, medium game of the year, and heavy game of the year. I played all of them with my wife Mary, and she didn't like all of them, which is so funny. Because it shows like we all have different tastes. We all like different things in games. And when I discussed with my Mary, she said, "Oh my God, I don't like any of these games."
Wow.
And this is the breadth of our hobby. This is the breadth of how many different tastes, how many different games there are. So once again, I want to remind everyone, we all like different games. Appreciate every single design, please.
That's interesting that she literally did not like any of the 3 games.
Mary said that Micro Macro, too many details. She didn't see what's happening in the game, so she said, "No, I'm not going to play it." Lost Ruins of Arnak, she said, "No, it's boring, I don't want to play it." And Gloomhaven, she saw the monsters, she saw the fights, and "Oh, I don't like fighting monsters." So all these 3 games that are amazing and won these awards, not everyone loves them. but still, it's amazing, amazing games.
They are amazing games. Everything deserves a nomination, and they deserve to be winners. Let's get over to our strategy and tactics segment. Okay, in strategy and tactics, where you're going to be posting questions so you can enter our contest. Don't forget, go to the guild and do so. Chris Sorich, who's at Chris Sorich on BGG, with so many fledgling designers, how often are you pitched a game either in person, at a convention, or via email? There are conventions specifically for designers to meet with publishers. Do you have representatives that attend some of these? So Ignacy, I guess he's asking, where do we get pitched games, and how do we get pitched games, and do we go specifically to places to get pitched games? I think the general answer is all of the above, but how does your company, balance all of that?
Yeah, for Portal Games, we don't take pictures at the conventions because we're all too busy. There's so many things happening, and we say, please provide us prototype. We will play it in the office. We'll get back to you. And most of the pictures we get are through email. We get the email with the description of the prototype, sometimes the link to the YouTube video, and then we evaluate and decide if we want to go with this prototype. But I know our friend Zev Schlesinger. I remember Zeman Games having booth opposite to my booth back then in Essen 2017, I think, or 2016. And he was all long hours sitting with the new designer, and checking these prototypes. So different approaches. I am too busy at the convention, so I ask always, send me email.
So, and I have always been like Zev, that I make lots of meetings at conventions. I never take a meeting on the spot with a designer unless, like, Martin Wallace comes up to me, or Ignacy Chevicek walked up to me and says, I got to pitch you a game or something like that. But you make, conventions, especially ones overseas where you don't get as much face time with people, like Essen. I would have meetings, one after the other, either with designers or with publishers from Europe to get their games and bring them over. All done, all those meetings set up beforehand. And then for certain ones of the designer publisher conventions, the designer meetups, we would send people to go to see them. It's a mix. It has to be a mix because you can't be at every one of these small, like, designer publisher things. When you're at a convention, the really motivated designers, they show up. You schedule meetings for things that sound interesting. Victor Puente, who's at The Preacher, have you given any thought to doing licensed games? As in, I assume he means IPs. If so, what properties would interest you, and would you reconfigure an existing game or start from scratch? Okay, so he's asking, have you ever reached out, or has anybody ever approached you with a licensed game? Well, obviously Dune. Now, did you reach out? I forgot the story. Did you reach out to Dune, or did they come to you? That's sort of the perfect, answer to this.
They reached us because they are particularly looking for the designer and publisher who will do adventure games. So the owners of the IP already had a strategy game, the Dune. They already had a card game, Dune Empire, and they were looking for the adventure game. And I am this board game tell stories dude in the industry, so they reached to me. Right now, Portal Games is reaching different other companies for different IP. So yes, we are looking for different avenues, I would say, to look for the interesting themes. And for his question about if we are doing an existing game or starting from the scratch, for Dune, of course, we use the existing engine of Detective, and from that we build a brand new game. I can see both. Solution. You can easily take, for example, Hiroshima Hex and change it into Warcraft, and it will be a perfect game. Sure. Or sometimes you just design a brand new game. So it depends on the IP and depends on what you want to achieve with this IP. Yeah, but these days I'm known as the board game tell stories, as an adventure game. So
perfect for you. Perfect for you. Yeah, and I would have always loved to have done a Lord of the Rings game. I mean, I've got some. Yeah, I'm all this IPs I love, but I never had the bandwidth to actually take one in-house from scratch or anything like that. So it never really came on my radar. And in the case of a lot of these IPs, you got to have a connection directly into the owner of the IP. Ignacy, they came to you, which was perfect. But a lot of IPs, you got to know the person to go to, and there's a whole big thing to get to that. So with me, it never really came to fruition. XX Nostradunwich, who's at Nostradunwich on BGG. Hey, Ignacy and Steven, are you surprised to see some very old games getting reprints at a time when the market is so saturated with new games? Yeah, my answer is yes at this point. But with the but that, if you keep your finger on the pulse of the geek, and all of a sudden something's been out of print for a while, the license has reverted, and it looks like there's demand for the game, then you can do the one-off reprint of something old. But for the most part now, just about everything, in my opinion, that people need from the older catalogs has been done. Some of those Reiner Knizia games that Fantasy Flight has just given up, the Z-Man games, Asmodee North America, I'm sure they'll get picked up again. But I think a little bit of time has got to pass before those games, come back onto the market. That classic Euro line that we talked about, that Z-Man is now giving up. Ignacy, what do you think?
The perfect example is Brass from Martin Wallace. That was out of the print for a long time, and then you had these new Compound Rockslide games that got the rights back, and they prepared this stunning, amazing edition of the game. It was a blast on the Kickstarter, and a huge success. So if you have a game that has this classic vibe, and everybody remembers that it was famous back then, and you want to bring it back, you will have a success. Stronghold Games and Portal Games did Die Macher, another great classic game from the past.
Absolutely.
But it is true only for all these evergreens, these big titles from the past that everybody remembers, that everybody has great memories about them, like El Grande, like Euphrates and Tigris, etc., etc.
Absolutely, man. I remember playing El Grande so much.
Yeah, we have it in the collection. We played it after hours. It's brutal.
I love it. It's the granddaddy of area control. That's what I always call that. I got to get that out. It's so beautiful still. One last question I think we can take here. Kevin Lass, who's at KLass10, a question for each of you to answer separately or together. You are both stranded on a desert island with each other and 2 games. I don't think I can take being stranded with Ignacy on a desert island.
Terraforming for you, come on.
Terraforming Mars and First Martians are the only 2 games, and it's just me and you. Unfortunately, in this scenario, there are no Tinder to start a fire with, so you must choose one of the games to burn in order to get the island started. Assume the fire will burn indefinitely once started. Which game do you burn? Which do you save? Love the podcast. Of course we burn First Martians.
No.
Not Terraforming Mars. How could we answer the question?
It's very simple.
Kevin,
I'm the designer. So first of all, we would start with burning insert, the box, all the non-gameplay elements. And out of that, we could probably start the fire. And if it's not enough, we would start taking some of the parts that are not crucial for the game. So me as a designer, I would find some components that we don't need, and still then we will enjoy the game. So we'll be fine.
You know what? And we both know the game so well that we could just make the game right there, right? If we just get a tree, we'll cut out some of the bark for the tiles, for Mars. We could do it. Sorry.
We'll be fine.
We'd have to burn both because we couldn't choose. Kevin, you're a very silly man. And see, that would have qualified as a question if you'd post it in the guild's correct what is it called? Thread on Board Game Geek. All right, everybody. See you. No, let's get over to what are you doing, Ignacy? Let's get over to playtesting.
Today's question was invented by me and written by me and Steven.
Yes.
It took us like 5 minutes to put my thoughts into the writing, so please focus. The question is, how many games do you own? Do you limit your purchases based on that certain thresholds? For instance, do you limit yourself to owning no more than 100 games?
I limit myself to owning no more than 2,000 games. No, I'm kidding. I don't. I've reached physical limit basically on amount of games that I can have, but
Based on your Kallax?
yeah, I've filled the Calyx completely, which is about to get packed up in about a few days. I got to pack everything to get them ready to move to a storage unit.
Are you going to vlog it? That would be fun
No.
video.
Yeah, maybe I should.
That would be fun.
It's going to take hours and hours to do it. And I'm having some professionals come in and do it. I'm not doing it myself. So I own about, I really don't even know the number anymore. I own about 2,000 games. And that's very, I guess. And that would include the smallest things and the biggest things and everything. And no, I still buy games because, there's Kickstarter stuff I want. I go to game stores, I buy things. So there's no limit, but I will be doing a culling of games. I will be taking out some games and tossing them out during this process of packing them up, or when they all come back, of putting them back. I'm going to be saying, you know what? I really don't need this. Those games I'm going to either bring to Goodwill, and so you give them the things and they sell them, hopefully for good purpose, for charity, or I'm going to be giving them to friends. That's going to be happening. So I guess my answer is no, I don't have a certain number, but I'm going to get down to a certain size, and that size is 5 full Kallax shelves of games. 5 full 5x5 Kallax shelves, which, the top of those shelves are actually taller than me. I know I'm short, but those are 6-foot tall shelves. And then I have to have the big games on top of those. So we're talking still a lot of acreage of games. Ignacy, how about you?
I cheat and I keep my games in different locations, including my office, my home, my friends. So I don't know the number, and that keeps me calm and happy buying new games. So I don't give myself any threshold. I just cannot, resist if there's this new game. I just bought this baby last Friday, Under the Falling Skies, Polish edition.
It's upside down. I can't read it. Well, I can't read it. It's in Polish anyway. What is this called?
Under the Falling Skies from CGE, nominated for Golden Geek, or I think it even won Golden Geek, a great solo game. So yes, I'm buying games and I don't care how many games I have. I love games, but I have this lucky situation that I can keep games in the office. Not everybody has this chance because the space is limited for many of us.
I mean, I could keep more games in my house. Obviously, there's closets, this here, there, but it's just like at some point, it's like I've got to stop. Like I have my closet in my office. It's off camera, so people who are watching can't see it. But my closet there is also filled with games. But most of those games are like still sealed. They're like some extra Stronghold Games stuff that I just happen to have. That if somebody comes over and I'm saying, hey, you want to roll and write? I just give them a game, or I give away. I go to somebody's house and I give them a gift or something like that. So can't throw those out. Beautiful new, and they're almost always from the last couple of years, sealed games. So yeah, I bad impulse control, it's called. You just gotta keep getting good games and stuff. So anyway, out there, please answer this question. How many games do you have? Do you limit yourself based on a threshold? Let us know. Ignacy right now is creating a thread in our guild on Board Game Geek to ask this question of you. So go there, answer the question, and of course, place your question to us in the correct thread on Board Game Geek. Ignacy, we should probably just put another thread there saying, post questions, so people then know they can win if they post some questions. Anyway, let's get to the final scoring. Thank you all for listening. Help us spread the word about this podcast by telling your friends to download Board Games Insider wherever they like to get their podcasts. To ask us questions for our strategy and tactics segment, which will enter you into the contest, you must post them in the correct thread in our guild on Board Game Geek. To answer our question to you from our playtesting segment, also go to our guild on Board Game Geek and look for the thread with this episode's question. Board Games Insider has a Facebook page, so like us on Facebook. Also on Facebook, please like Ignacy's page and Steven's page, which is /Portal Publishing and /Podfather Gaming. Our websites are now portalgamesus.com, That's the one site to rule them all.
Correct.
And podfathergaming.com. Go there, sign up for the newsletters to get up to the minute info on what's happening at Portal Games and with the Podfather. On social media, you can speak directly to Ignacy and Steven. On Twitter and Instagram, it's at Portal Games US and at Podfather Gaming. On YouTube, very active channels, Portal Games Movies, Portal Games Gameplays, and the Podfather of Gaming. We're going to see you soon. Get your vaccines. Going to conventions. We want to see you. Ignacy's got his, so now you know we're out there. And by the way, Board Games Insider was professionally edited by Matthew Jude from This Game is Broken podcast, also nominated for a Golden Geek Award. If you'd like him to edit your podcast, please contact him on Twitter or email at thisgameisbrokenpodcast@gmail.com. Ignacy, do you have anything else to say to our folks out there?
Not today. There is a secret news that I will reveal soon, but then I'm not ready yet. So listen to us next week. Maybe I will spoil something.
Next week, end of next week's show, Ignacy's going to say something. I'm going to force it out of him.
Yep.
Everybody, thank you again for listening. We'll see you in a week. Bye-bye now.
Thank you. Bye-bye.